Alright, thought I'd make this video sort of as a response. Saw another prepper, which I ain't gonna name names, but guy knows what he's talking about. As far as precious metals go, I've been out of the loop for a little while, but prices are different. Spot price and the premiums are different now than when I last bought, which has been a good while. But it was about semi-precious metals like copper, and he was saying that it was probably a good idea to collect copper pennies, but he doesn't see the exit strategy. So I thought I would make this video and answer that, and put it as a response, and just for the rest of you guys wondering too. Okay, so the idea is copper is a semi-precious metal. It's getting harder to come by. There haven't been any significant discoveries of copper in about 100 years. And we need it. I mean, we need copper for plumbing, for electricity, for, I mean, shit, just for this here, right? Then you've got the Chinese are having higher living standards. They're building houses now, and cities that, I mean, building cities that are just empty. But anyway, you need copper for that, for the plumbing, for the electricity, for all that, right? And there's not an infinite supply of copper. It's not like we just push a button and there we go, bricks appear. No, we've got to mine it and we can't find it. So the price is going to go up eventually. Now, he was wondering what you would do with this. Should you melt it down if it was legal, if the penny is no longer, if they discontinue it, then it's no longer going to be in circulation. The laws wouldn't apply to it anymore, and you could legally melt it. I think this is a bad idea. This is perfect. All right, it's already molded. It's already familiar. Everybody knows what this is. So, like, no one's going to be, what the hell is that? You got a big old blob of melted copper. No, this is the same weight, the same purity, right? You know the exact value. So if I know the exact value for 1 penny, I know the exact value for 100 pennies, right? So you just multiply it by the dollar value, $25 box. Well, there you go. Pretty simple, right? You get your transaction in and out, and you're out the door, you know. You go and you sell this stuff or trade it off. If you went to a metal shop and they start buying copper. Now, I think he meant more of a collapse type scenario. Well, it'd be the same thing as using silver. Let's say that we printed so much money, we devalued the dollar so much that if the dollar value goes way down, then the silver value goes way up. It takes more weak dollars to buy the same amount of silver. So what if somebody didn't have change for a silver dime? You know, hey man, I want to buy eggs and bread. And he's like, well, I don't have change. You're going to have to take, a dozen eggs and take that cart of bread, or who knows what. I don't know. I'm just making this as an example. But you can see my point. Now, this would actually work out as change, right? You could actually, even better yet, you could go in and buy a little bit with this, because everybody know what it is. They know the value. They know the purity. Let's say you have some big old melted blob of copper, right? They're going to have to check it, weigh it. It's going to be a pain in the ass, right? Here you just pretty much, I mean, you got a bucket, grab a handful, check the dates. You know, you can pretty much tell. I mean, after a while you can kind of see the difference. Not as easily as with silver, but they sound different. They look a little different, and you'd be more familiar with it as time went on, and this is used more often. Right, so you can use this for small barter transactions. Right, you might need a roll or two, but hey, think about it. It's better than blowing silver if you don't have to. Or for smaller transactions, what if nobody has change? You don't want to take a shitload of tomatoes or something if you don't need it. It's just going to go bad on you. Right? So anyway, half of the 1982 pennies are copper. The other half are going to be the zinc. They switched the consistency in the middle of 82, which is the year I was born, coincidentally. But anyway, the only way to tell that, you weigh them. There's a drop test, which if you're new to this, I wouldn't bother. They do sound different, and it takes a while before you get it down. Or you can throw them through a copper sorter. So because you need a sorter or somebody that knows what they're doing, I don't bother with 82 pennies. I put them aside. I have a sorter. I run all this stuff through after I check the dates just to double check. And then I take the 82s, roll them up, and sell them off on eBay. So, you know, if somebody else wants them, if they're going to melt them down someday when they're no longer protected by law, hey, more power to them. I prefer this. So the best way to go, 82 and below, from 1982 to 1959, I believe, would be your memorials, right? They're going to be 95% copper, but the ones older than that, same thing, 95%, but they're going to be the wheat pennies. They have a little bit more of a premium. Just like in silver, your Roosevelt dimes and your Mercury dimes. The Mercuries sometimes go for a bit more, so I separate them. I put wheats aside. They're more rare. You're going to get a better premium. Put those aside and try to save them. If you're going to spend stuff, spend the memorial coppers. Also, I recommend hoarding up nickels. Nickels are 75% copper, 25% nickel. All right? Nickel is also pretty important too. Need it for like surgical equipment, cookware. Your hard drive needs nickel. I mean, there's several uses for that too, and it's actually more expensive per pound than copper. So, if copper pennies are worth, you know, have intrinsic value, well, the nickel even more so. And the beauty is, all nickels are going to be that purity, 75% copper, 25% nickel. Now, I'm not recommending you go out and buy a box of nickels, right? If you have that kind of money to blow, buy junk silver. I've got videos teaching you how to buy that, and certain sites you can go to check it out. I'd recommend buying silver. That's got more growth potential, in my opinion, than copper, nickel, or gold, right? We've been using it. It's more rare than gold. So I would actually recommend, if you're going to go throw money into nickel or something like that, just go and buy junk silver. But anyway, hey, you get these in your change. It takes a minute to look through them. You put them aside. They build up. You don't have to roll them like I do, but what the hell, I like to do it. And then I seal them up. Anyway, and copper is pretty heavy compared to the zinc. I mean, these boxes, I think they're like 27.5 pounds, something like that. But anyway, that's the strategy, barter, right? They're already all, I mean, look, the work's already done. Purity, the weight, the molding, it's familiar. It's everything you want. You'd be a fool to melt this shit down, right? Think about it. All the work's done. There you go.